So we're going to start standing, and then we're eventually going to make our way down to the ground. So find enough space where you can roll out a yoga mat and have about an arm's length from anything that, or anyone that you might hit. From here, we're just going to start nice and tall, and we're going to work our way from the top down. So we're going to take that chin, we're just going to tuck it down towards the chest. From here, I'm going to let the head fall to the side. I'm going to take my right ear to my right shoulder. I'm going to let the head dip back. Keep coming around in a circle as the left ear dips towards the left shoulder and the chin finds the center again. We're just going to reverse that circle in the opposite direction and then back to the center. And we'll do one more time each side. And then reverse until the chin rests back to the center. So from nice and tall, I'm going to think about moving my shoulders. So my arms are at my sides, and I'm going to start to rotate them in towards the center line. So if my thumbs are pointing forward, I can let the thumbs start to turn in as my shoulders start to move towards the middle. And then from here, I'm going to pick those shoulders up towards the ears. I'm going to start to roll the shoulders back. And as I do this, I'm going to rotate my shoulders as well. So my palms are now forward. And then finally, sliding the shoulders down and away from the ears. So again, rotating inwards. Shoulders come into the center line. Now I'm going to pick my shoulders up towards my ears. I'm going to pull my shoulders back as I rotate open again, so palms face forward, and then slide the fingers down towards the ground to get the shoulders away from the ears. Let's do one more like that. Rotating in, elevating up, retracting back, open up the shoulders, palms forward, and then finally shoulders down and away from the ears. We'll take those arms, we're just going to cross them right across our chest. I'm going to slightly flex forward again so the chin can tuck. And then from here, I'm going to trace that nice big circle again, this time with that mid-spine. So the shoulder dips to the right, open up, left shoulder dips down, and then I come back to center. And just like with the neck, we're going to reverse that direction. Again. Here, dip to the side, open up that chest as I come to the back. And I try to make this nice and smooth motion. Nice and controlled. And then we'll relax. So for the next, we're going to get into a little bit more motion for that shoulder. And now we're going to start to talk about a concept of irradiation. So that means just radiating tension in parts of our body so we can basically lock it down and kind of focus on where we're actually trying to get the motion from. At this time, we're going to think about the shoulder joint. So ways I can radiate tension is I'm going to have my feet hip width apart. I'm actually going to squeeze my butt as hard as I can. I'm going to have a little air trapped in that belly so I can pull those ribs down and tighten up those abs. And then I can even start to turn this kind of effect on by just squeezing my opposite hand. So we're going to take that left hand, we're just going to make a little fist and just squeeze it as hard as we can. So that way, when I start to move, I'm going to not compensate in any other way when I do this motion. So for example, if I'm here and I don't have enough mobility to get overhead, I might start to steal that motion from somewhere else. So if those ribs start to flare up, now I'm getting into that back and into that spine. So we're going to keep those ribs locked down, and then as I complete this shoulder rotation, everything else stays in place. So you'll notice again too that I'm not twisting and rotating. So locking everything down, radiating that tension, and things hip and shoulders just stay square to the front the whole time. So now, once I ground everything down, get myself set, we're going to take that right hand and we're going to start to elevate the arm overhead. When I get to that little sticky point at the top, that's where we're going to work that shoulder rotation again. So I'm actually going to rotate at the shoulder. I'm going to turn the palm away from myself, kind of like I'm high-fiving a wall beside me. Not a person, because that's not cool right now. As I start to come around, I'm going to keep rotating, so my thumb is going to be facing down, and I'm always, again, going to pull that arm in towards the center. So again, leading with that thumb, I start to rotate at the top, keep rotating until that thumb's all the way down, keep pulling it into the center. We're going to do one more in this direction, leading with that thumb. And now I'm going to try the reverse direction. So this time I'm going to reach behind, probably going to get stuck a little sooner, so we're going to work that rotation as I come back through. So this time I'm always leading with my pinky. Reaching back. And again, thinking about tracing as big of a circle as possible. And then we'll relax that side. So we're going to set up for the opposite side. Again, starting with that concept of radiation. Grounding down, making sure that everything's locked into place. We can take that opposite hand, make that fist, and then we're going to start to elevate that left arm, thumb up. I'm going to start to rotate, pulling in towards the center line, and I'll complete that shoulder circle. So if you feel any kind of pain when you're going through this, try to back off. So if it hurts a little bit here, I might cut the circle a little bit short in that area, but I still want to try to expand the other ranges that I can. One more. Leading with that thumb. And then again, we're going to go into reverse. So now we're going to go back into that concept of control. What part of this range of motion do I actually own without resorting to changing my posture, my position, my alignment, using momentum? I'm trying to control myself through this motion. Oh yeah, I forgot. Where did we just leave off? So at the gym, you'll probably notice that we use those white dowels a lot. So if you're at home right now, hunkering down, there's some options in your own home that you could use to substitute for dowels that we use. I'm just going to use this little broom handle for now. And I'm actually just going to use it for a little bit of balance, just while I'm demonstrating this exercise. But if you're just at home, you can use anything. You can use a wall, you can use a chair. You just need something beside you to just help maintain balance while we're doing this position. So just like we did with the shoulders, we're going to work into that little controlled articular rotation, or our cars, with the hips. So it's going to start off with that same concept of irradiation. So building that correct tension so I can lock myself down and again not compensate as I'm going through this motion. So I'm going to use the dowel just as a little bit of support, and I'm going to stand nice and tall on my support leg, keeping those shoulders pulled back, and then I'm going to start to raise one leg. So I'm going to raise this outside leg. The motion's going to be the knee straight up, and then I'm going to rotate at the hip. So it's kind of like a barn door just swinging open. That knee's going to stay nice and high and elevated. From here, we're going to rotate inwards. So again, I want to see if I can keep that knee from dropping, but again, just try to control that nice smooth circle as best as you can. From here, we're going to extend. So my heel is going to come back in line with my butt, and again, watching those ribs stay tucked in. We're going to come up for another repetition. Knee comes straight up. I try to stay nice and tall on the support leg. It's going to swing out, in, and back. Still pulling that heel towards the butt. One more. Straight up, out, in, and back. Last one. So again, I should be able to hang out in any of these positions. I'm not using momentum. I'm seeing if I can pull with everything in that hip to drive that knee straight up. I keep driving it up as I use everything in that hip to externally rotate. I'm going to rotate in. A little bit of cramping there, but that's okay. And then we'll relax. Might need to shake that support leg out. It's doing a lot of stabilizing work while we're doing that. So let's get set up for that opposite side. Again, nice and tall. I can radiate that tension. I can even squeeze that opposite hand as I start to drive that knee straight up towards the ceiling. We're going to rotate it out. A little rotation in. You can see I'm fighting falling to this side. Extend it. Keep those ribs down. Core engaged. Back up for another one. Up. Rotating out. We'll rotate in and back down. Got 2 to go. See if you can pull a little higher with each rep. So now I'm starting to ramp up that tension myself a little bit. Moving with that focus and that control. Last one, drive it up. Maybe give yourself a little target to see if you can get a little bit higher. Keep it up. Almost there. We're going to rotate in. Extend and relax. And now we're going to find ourselves down onto our mat. So from here, we're just going to take a nice tabletop position. My knees are going to be right underneath my hips, my hands right over top of underneath my shoulders. From here, from a neutral spine position, I'm going to think about tucking my tailbone under, and I'm going to start to roll the spine up towards the ceiling. So I'm going to start at the hips. I'm going to start to tuck under, and notice that I'm going to go one vertebrae at a time, trying again to control and build some awareness through this spinal motion. I'm going to end off with the neck, and then I'm going to start to raise that head up, and we're going to reverse this motion. So now I'm going to extend, and I'm going to try to take my time and move myself one little piece at a time as I start to work my way down. So let's try another one. Again, we're always going to start and end at the hips on this. I'm going to start to tuck under, start to slowly work my way up. And then we're going to reverse. A couple things that I watch here is that I try to keep my hands underneath my shoulders the whole time. So I'm not leaning forward and leaning back as I do this. And I also keep those elbows straight. So that we don't see something like this happening when I'm starting to try to just move again from that spine. Last one. Make it a little bit faster now that we know what we're trying to move. From that same position, you can probably just stay where you are, but I'm just going to turn so you can see a little bit better. We're going to focus a little bit more on those wrists. So again, idea is still keeping those elbows straight. I might slightly turn the pits of the elbows forward, and then we're just going to get into some nice little circles. So the shoulders are going to circle around the hands, and then we'll reverse that circle, going the other way. Again, trying not to let the elbows start to bend as we make this nice smooth little circle. We'll find ourselves back to our resting position, and then from here I'm going to raise my hands off the ground. I'm going to leave my fingertips down onto the mat. So if that's a little intense, I can start to bring my knees a little bit closer to my hands. So I take a little bit of weight off the hands and the fingers. So we're gonna do a couple more of those. And then we're gonna rest the palms down on the ground. So I still have shoulder width apart, fingers are nice and wide here, but now we're just gonna focus on the pads of our knuckles pressing into the ground. So same motion, except now the fingers stay glued to the mat as I raise those palms up. So this one might be even more intense for you. So again, you can vary how much weight you put in by how close or how far those knees are away. So again, nice and controlled, both palms up at the same time, and then controlling them back down at the same time. From here, we're just gonna shake those hands out a little bit. Last one we're gonna do of this sequence is just work those ankles a little bit more. So just like we've been working with all those circular patterns, I'm gonna try to expand this circle that we're gonna make as best as I can. And then gradually kind of think like you're gonna sand or smooth out the edges to just make it a really nice motion. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna sit up nice and tall. And again, I wanna make sure I kind of isolate the joint that I'm trying to work. So we're gonna lock it up a little bit here by taking our right arm underneath our right thigh. I'm going to cap the back of my opposite forearm with my hand, and then my left hand is gonna come on top of my shin. So nice and tall here. I'm going to just, again, paint that circle. I have a little paintbrush on my toes. And you might find a couple little corners here where it's kind of hard to control. I always bring it back to the biggest range of motion that I can control really well, so really smoothly. And we'll reverse that circle. And then we'll go ahead, release our grip. We're gonna go to the opposite side. So again, it's the same side arm is gonna come underneath the thigh. I'm going to cap my right hand, and then that hand is going to cap my shin. I'm gonna sit myself up nice and tall, and then start to move that ankle in that big circular motion again. Might hear a few little cracks and pops. And then we're just going to reverse that circle. And then finally, we're just going to go ahead and release. So that's kind of a little sample of a little morning movement practice. Something that you can use to, again, kind of like tune your body up for your day. It's also something you can do midday if you need a little break from kind of daily living, daily activities. I might use this to just, again, get a little bit, feed myself a little bit of movement throughout my day. We're going to end it there. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments. And yeah, let me know if it's something that you find useful to throw into your day.